You ever notice how lifted trucks went from a niche thing to suddenly being everywhere? Like overnight, every other truck is sitting 4 feet in the air, looking like it's trying to escape Earth's gravitational pull. And the funny part, most of these things don't even touch the dirt. They just take up 2 parking spots at a Target and blind everyone behind them with headlights perfectly aligned with their eyeballs. Today we're breaking down why lifted trucks suck, from terrible handling to useless practicality, to the safety issues no one talks about. This is the reality behind the lifted truck obsession. Let's get into it. So first, how did we get here? Lifted trucks didn't start as some trendy flex for the suburbs. They actually had a purpose. Back in the 1940s and 50s, military trucks were some of the first mass-produced vehicles with serious ground clearance. By the 70s and 80s, off-roading became a hobby, not just something you did because you had to. That's when people started lifting their trucks intentionally. These were the days when a lift kit meant you were probably hitting trails on weekends, not sitting in school pickup zones. Fast forward to 2000s and the vibe totally changed. Lifting went from functionable to fashionable. Truck ads leaned in the bigger is better image. Aftermarket shops exploded, and social media turned giant trucks into a status symbol. Somewhere along the way, a lot of people forgot the original point. Now you've got 6-inch lifts on trucks that never see anything rougher than a freshly repaved Walmart parking lot. And that's how we ended up where we are today. So why do lifted trucks just suck? Reason number 1, lifted trucks have fake practicality. Let's be honest, lifted trucks have this image of being the ultimate tool. Owners act like they're driving something unstoppable. Their truck is ready to climb a mountain, pull a house, rescue a stranded family, or tow a freight train all before lunch. But in reality, most lifted trucks can barely handle a hardware store parking lot without struggling to fit in the space. The higher you lift a truck, the less practical it gets in real life. Everything becomes a chore. Loading the bed turns into a workout because now you basically need a step stool to put a bag of mulch in there. Towing gets worse because lifting changes the geometry and puts stress on the drivetrain. Fuel economy gets murdered. Handling gets worse, and the truck becomes harder to control in emergencies because the center of gravity is sky high. And here's where it gets really funny. Most lifted truck owners treat their truck like it's made of glass. They talk non-stop about off-road capability, but they freak over the idea of scratching the bed. The bed liner is spotless, the tailgate looks brand new, and the only thing that ever touches the cargo area is maybe a gym bag they gently place down there like it's fine china. Meanwhile, real work trucks, the ones actually used by contractors and landscapers, are all beat to hell and still doing more work in a week than lifted trucks see in 5 years. Lifted trucks look tough, but that's all it is, looks. They're not built to haul, not built to tow, not built to be useful. They're just oversized accessories pretend to be tools. They cosplay as work vehicles, but deep down they're some of the least practical vehicles on the road. Reason number 2, lifted trucks are a safety disaster. Here's the part nobody who owns a lifted truck wants to hear. They're straight up dangerous, not just for the driver, but for everyone else on the road. It's wild that cake trucks, tiny little 40 horsepower Japanese carts, are considered unsafe for American roads, but a lifted F-250 with 37s on is perfectly fine. Seriously, look at a K-truck. It's basically a lawnmower with doors. Does it look like a threat to society? Meanwhile, a lift truck that can't even see someone who's under 5'7" around it, suddenly that's okay with regulators. The higher the truck is, the worse visibility it gets. You literally create blind spots big enough to hide a whole Corolla. Pedestrians disappear, cyclists disappear, kids disappear, even other trucks disappear, and all it takes is 1 second of not paying attention. And let's talk about the part nobody brings up. The drivers are basically untrained. A truck this tall, this heavy, with this much modified suspension should legally require some sort of certification. Real commercial trucks, semis, heavy equipment need specialized licenses because operating something that big is a skill. You need training. You need to prove you can handle the size, the weight, the braking distance, and the blind spots. But a lifted F-250, that's just as heavy as a box truck and sits higher than some delivery vans. No training, no special license, just hand over the cash at the dealership and boom. You're piloting a rolling billboard for bad decision making. Most lifted truck owners aren't even trained to drive something that tall. They've never learned how weight transfer works. They've never practiced emergency braking at that height. They don't even realize their stopping distance is basically the length of a Boeing runway. Yet K-trucks, the safest, slowest, most predictable things ever built, get banned from highways. Lifted trucks aren't just inconvenient. They're straight up safety hazards with untrained pilots. And the fact that we allow these things while banning harmless other trucks, that's the funniest part of all this. Number 3, the community. One of the biggest problems with lifted trucks isn't even the trucks themselves, it's the people who drive them. Not all of them obviously, but the stereotype exists for a reason. A lot of lifted truck owners act like they're some part of elite club where basic manners don't matter. They get behind the wheel and they suddenly think they're above everyone else on the road. They cut people off because they know smaller cars won't fight back. They tailgate like it's a sport. They roll coal because they think it's funny. They behave like the road is their personal playground and everyone else is just in the way. Parking lots? Even worse. They'll take up 2 or 3 spots just because they can. They'll park way over the line, take the end spot, and stick out 4 feet, or block people in that kind of views when someone gets annoyed. And if you call them out, have them immediately turn defensive. It's always the same attitude. It's a big truck, deal with it. No accountability, no self-awareness, just a giant lifted vehicle and an even bigger ego behind the wheel. And the truth is, a lot of them didn't buy these trucks because they actually use them for anything. They didn't buy them to tow, they don't haul anything. They bought a lifted truck because they want people to look at them. The truck is basically a moving billboard that says, "Please notice me." They want reactions. They want to feel superior. The height, the loud exhaust, the giant tires, half of it exists to purely grab attention. And that's exactly why the best thing you could do is ignore them. It drives them insane. They didn't spend thousands on a massive lift kit and oversized wheels just so people could shrug and walk past them like it's another pickup. They want the stares. They want people to comment and they want validation. When you don't give them any, it ruins the whole point of why they bought the truck in the first place. If people stop acting like lifted trucks or simply press a statement, the fake attitude that comes with them loses all its power. Most car communities at least have some sense of respect. Sports cars, tuner people, classic car guys, even EV owners. Lifted truck culture is the opposite. It's all noise, size, and ego, and none of that etiquette. They want to be the loudest, biggest, and most dominant thing on the road. Real truck drivers, actual commercial drivers, need a license and training for a reason. Lifted trucks don't, and you could tell. A lot of these owners are untrained, unprepared, and totally unaware how dangerous it is to drive something with terrible visibility and messed up center of gravity. So yeah, the community is a huge part why lifted trucks get hated, because the owners act like they're above everyone else and don't have to follow anyone's rules. And at the end of the day, the worst thing you could do to someone who desperately wants attention is to give them none. 4. They're expensive for no reason. Here's the part no one in the lifted truck crowd ever wants to admit. These things are insanely expensive, and most of the people driving them can't actually afford them. It's one of the only car cultures where going deep into debt is treated like a personality trait. You've got people leasing Raptors and TRXs just so they could show something off they don't even own. They'll brag about the horsepower, the lift height, the tire size, but skip the part where they're paying more per month than most people spend on rent. And the aftermarket world makes it even worse. A normal gift kit alone could cost thousands. Bigger wheels, thousands and more. Tires the size of your average studio apartment, even more. Then there's the tuning, the lights, the custom bumpers, the chrome add-ons they swear look good but absolutely don't. By the time they're done building it, they basically created a financial disaster on wheels. The truck ends up being worse to drive and less functional than stock. Then you've got the truly ridiculous cases. The trucks that cost supercar money for no functional reason at all. I remember seeing a lifted truck at a dealership that was $200,000. Not joking, could lease it. $250,000 lifted pickup meant for Instagram photos and gas station flexing. And the best part? It's still sitting there. Nobody bought it. It's been collecting dust since 2023. And of course nobody bought it. Who's gonna sign a loan for that? It's basically a monument for bad financial decisions. This is the heart of the problem. Lifted trucks aren't just expensive, they're such a waste of money that they become a personality trap. When someone spends that much, they're stuck defending it forever. They won't admit it's impractical. They won't admit it's unsafe. They won't admit it ruins the truck handling. They definitely won't admit they're drowning in payments. They have to pretend it's the greatest thing ever because the financial hit is too painful to think about. Meanwhile, the rest will look at the same truck and see exactly what it is. A giant overpriced status symbol that does nothing better than a normal version sitting right next to it. You're paying luxury car money to make your truck worse at being a truck. Not exactly smart. So at the end of the day, lifted trucks don't dominate the road. They dominate their owners' bank accounts. And honestly, if a dealership still has a six-figure lifted truck collecting dust on the lot, that tells you everything you need to know. Modern lifted trucks are finally losing their grip, and it's not a mystery why. Insurance companies are cracking down because their rigs are unsafe. States are tightening lift laws and banning extreme setups. Dealerships can't move their overpriced custom builds anymore. Social media trends already move them from ego trucks into actual fun cars. Gas prices crushed anyone trying to drive a 10-mile-a-gallon monster. Younger buyers want Miatas, GR86s, Civics, Mavericks, not rolling billboards on 37s. Even lift shops are dying up and manufacturers aren't feeding the hype anymore. The whole lifted truck scene is shrinking because the reality finally caught up to it. The money, the interest, and the trend power just aren't there anymore. So now I want to know, what do you think? Are lifted trucks finally dying for good, or is there still some hype left out there? Curious to hear your thoughts and comments below. Thanks for watching, remember people, drive safe, drive smart, but most importantly, drive something worth talking about. See you in the next one.